Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Gurpreet. Today we'll be talking about love, relationships and heartbreaks. See, when we were much younger, love seemed to be such a simpler concept. We would just be with someone or look at someone and feel a certain way, and we would assume that we are in love with that person. As a teenager, or even when we were younger than that, we have seen a lot of movies and read books that have made love to appear like some kind of a fairy tale. And most of our lives, let's face it, we just expect or wait around for that fairy tale to happen to us. It's only later on in life when we start experiencing things through relationships or from books and movies and from other people's relationships, we start to get a little idea of the reality of love and relationships, how they are such a complex thing that we might spend our entire lives, but we would just never be able to figure them out 100%. Love and relationships will always baffle us. But growing up, we realize that there's just such an important part of our lives. We will always keep circling back to love. Our idea of love keeps evolving with our own experiences around it. You come to realize at a point that relationships are not just limited to love. There are so many other things. There is respect, there is understanding, compatibility. You have to put up with the behavior and attitude of a person who might be entirely, or at least to some extent, be different from you, and that is not an easy thing. So a relationship is more about navigating through life with the other person by your side and trying to understand, trying to divide the whatever negative effects come, trying to just work as a team through life. That's what I'm trying to say. And still at the same time managing to get along, managing to not fall apart. Because the more you grow and mature, the more the reality hits you, you understand that it is not a fairy tale. The fairy tale idea just starts to fade. Whether someone is right for you or not is something that you can only know through experience, by being with that person and seeing how things are when you are with them, how they make you feel, and what you become when you are with that person. And it's true that not every person you'll meet, you will not end up being with them your whole life, and that is totally fine, because it's not as simple as we think. It's not about finding someone, it's about growing into a person that is deserving enough to be with someone you're actually meant to be. For me, relationship experiences have always been great lessons in giving me direction into what kind of a person I want to become. They have always helped me evaluate what are my priorities, where I am going wrong in life, and everything in general. While there are people out there who are kind and generous, who will always make things easy for you, there are also people out there who make things worse, because they want you to put up with their toxic, abusive behaviors. Now, when I was reading this book, It Ends With Us, I realized that Lily going through an abusive relationship was terrible, of course, but the aftermath of it was that she found her own sense of self by being alone for some period of time. She realized that she deserves better, which was not easy for her to admit, because we can only think about what it's like for people who go through abusive relationships. But as sad as it makes me to think that she had to suffer through the hands of someone she was in love with, at the same time she found a way to become her own, let's say, superhero, her own savior. And the other day I was reading this random quote on Instagram that most of us women are developing into or becoming the men that we used to dream of at a point in our lives. And it made me think that these days women, especially those who are single, are just exhibiting those traits, learning things, to do things that otherwise they expected their ideal man to be like or do. Um, for example, women who learn to become financially independent are actually giving themselves what they might have expected a man, a male figure, to give them when they were much younger. So that is one of the reasons Lily will always be a hero of mine, that how she was able to just, yes, with the help of people in her lives, but she was just able to become, to love herself, to empower herself. It is still something that a lot of us are not, would not be able to do if we were in the same situation. And talking about the other person who actually put her through this, Ryle, the character she marries, the one who starts to abuse her, is that it shows how our childhood experiences have the tendency to shape our behaviors. Ryle is shown to have incident happened with him and his brother, the one he accidentally kills, and the fact that that incident has left an indelible mark on him, in a way that he gets aggressive at times in his life, and whenever he gets triggered. This shows that yes, there is a tendency for our childhood experiences or teenage experiences to shape us into being a certain person or having certain type of reactions. And every time we get triggered, something snaps inside of us, and we have the tendency to become a totally different person. What this made me feel, that how this is, love is also associated, intertwined with our own healing. Love is not about uh, healing the other person, but also ourselves. In the fairy tales that we watch growing up, it is shown that a person comes and rescues you from your problems in life, but in reality love is also rescuing yourself from your own issues. So how deeply it is intertwined with your own healing. Now in a relationship, when a person tends to understand that there is something that they're not doing right with the other person, it actually becomes a duty of that person to heal themselves, according to me, because you cannot make other people suffer for something that you went through. And this is exactly what happens here, that this person, Ryle, makes his wife suffer because he went through something terrible in his childhood, which is something that is totally disturbing. In the sequel, which is called It Starts With Us, it has been shown how Lily finally finds love. And although they both have known each other for a very long time, it was not that simple. They just didn't get back together. There were a lot of ups and downs, and this is something that I really like, that how they both have been shown to have their own issues in their lives, especially their personal lives. Both have a lot of things going on in their family, and things that are not exactly very pleasant, and even in their professional life they have issues going on, but still at the same time they are able to find time for each other, hold space for each other, despite of all that they're going through in their lives, which is something I'm going to idolize for my whole life, I guess. That is exactly the idea here, that you will, as an adult, you will have a professional life, there will be issues related to your professional life, then you have a family, obviously there will be things always here and there, but finding time for someone that you actually value should not be an issue, no matter what, because if you value someone, if you want to spend time with someone, you will always find that time to be with them. So that is something I will idolize always. And also in this sequel, it has been shown how finally Lily realizes her worth, and how she stops having that abusive, breaks that cycle of being scared of her ex-husband, and finally gets over her fear, confronts him at various different situations, and is able to find it in herself to forgive herself for something that she might not actually have done, but she believed that she was responsible for. So this sequel is more about healing, finding your own self-worth, and finding your person. So I love how the story highlights that this woman was able to break a cycle of abuse that was going on in her family. She saw her own mother go through an abusive relationship, and when it came to her, it was really hard for her, but she was somehow able to break that pattern for her own sake, for the sake of her own daughter, which is a wonderful message that goes out to a lot of people, that it is possible to break free from abusive relationships. Yes, it takes a lot of strength, it takes time, it takes a lot of perseverance, but it is possible. And when I say abuse, I think abuse is not just on one level, that it's just not physical abuse. I think emotional abuse also exists, and a lot of people, I just hope that people become aware that if they are going through an abusive thing in their relationship, they're able to walk away from it somehow. Another thing that I really like is how this story highlights the realities of relationships, friendships and marriages, how it's not always just pleasant to be in a relationship, but at the same time it gives you this hope that the love that you deserve and desire will come to you eventually. You just have to be patient with yourself. You have to, recognize your worth. You have to stand up for yourself when you have to, and you need to just keep working on you, and you have to be in a place that where you can be on your own as well. Because the fact that Lily was able to be on her own, I think that is something that attracted the right person into her life. I believe that when you work on you, when you heal yourself, you're able to attract the same kind of thing in your life. You will, obviously, when you're emotionally mature, you will never settle for a person who isn't emotionally mature. So you will be able to recognize the right person who is mature as you are, and have a really good relationship that you deserve. So where you are on your healing journey will be a deciding factor into who you attract into your life. So at the end, I would like to thank you for listening to me and for watching this video. This was never meant to be a review kind of a video, but I just wanted to share a few things that I learned from the story and that I liked about it. Let me know what is your takeaway from this video and from this novel if you have read it. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you want. Thank you.